Welcome to Sociology Visualized. Imagine you want to understand poverty, religion, gangs, or even social media culture. You have two options. You can stand outside and collect data. Or you can enter the world, live with people, and feel their reality. Ethnography chooses the second path. It is not about studying people from a distance. It is about living their reality from within. What is ethnography? Ethnography is a qualitative research method in which the researcher enters a social setting, spends a long period of time there, observes, participates, interacts, and interprets the meanings of everyday life. It studies culture, practices, meanings, and lived experiences. The core idea is simple but powerful. Ethnography studies life as it is lived, not as it is reported. Key characteristics of ethnography. Participant observation is central to ethnography. The researcher is not a distant observer but becomes part of everyday life, engaging in activities such as eating, working, and participating in social events. Long-term immersion is essential. Ethnography requires months or even years of engagement. It is not a quick survey but a deep, sustained involvement with people and their world. Holistic understanding is a defining feature. Ethnography studies culture, norms, rituals, power relations, and everyday practices together, treating society as an interconnected whole. The Emic perspective focuses on the insider's point of view. The goal is to understand how people themselves interpret their actions and experiences, without imposing external judgments. Thick description, associated with Clifford Geertz, goes beyond surface description. It explains not only what is happening but what it means within a particular cultural context. Flexibility is built into the method. There is no rigid questionnaire. The research evolves as the field experience deepens. Contextual analysis ensures that behavior is understood within its social and cultural setting, not in isolation. Reflexivity requires the researcher to reflect on their own role. The researcher constantly asks how their presence, identity, and perspective are shaping the research process. Theoretical foundations. Interpretive sociology, associated with Max Weber, emphasizes understanding social action through the concept of Verstehen, or interpretive understanding of subjective meaning. Symbolic interactionism, developed by George Herbert Mead and Herbert Blumer, focuses on how society is created through interaction and shared symbols. Phenomenology, linked to Alfred Schutz, studies lived experience and how individuals make sense of their everyday world. Ethnomethodology, developed by Harold Garfinkel, examines how people produce and maintain social order in everyday interactions. Classical and modern ethnographers. Bronislaw Malinowski is considered the pioneer of participant observation. His study of the Cooler exchange system showed that economic practices are not merely economic but are deeply social, symbolic, and relational. Clifford Geertz introduced the idea of thick description. His study of the Balinese cockfight demonstrated that what appears to be entertainment is actually a complex expression of status, masculinity, and power. William Foote White, in his work Street Corner Society, studied slum gangs and showed that even what is labeled as deviance has structure, organization, and logic. Howard S. Becker studied marijuana users and demonstrated that deviance is not inherent but learned through social interaction. Irving Goffman, in work such as The Presentation of Self in Everyday Life and Asylums, showed that social life is like a performance and that institutions can shape and control identity. Paul Willis, in Learning to Labor, demonstrated how working-class resistance within schools can end up reproducing class inequality. Elijah Anderson, through Code of the Street, showed that violence follows a cultural logic rooted in respect and survival. Arlie Russell Hochschild, in The Managed Heart, revealed how emotions themselves become part of labor and are shaped by economic systems. Sudhi Venkatesh, in Gang Leader for a Day, showed that gangs operate with structured systems similar to formal organizations and economies. Indian ethnography. M.N. Srinivas introduced key concepts such as Sanskritization and dominant caste, based on detailed village studies. Veena Das explored how violence becomes embedded in everyday life and ordinary experiences. The Desai focused on rural class structure and the dynamics of inequality in agrarian society. Modern ethnography, digital world. Ethnography has expanded into digital spaces. Researchers now study Instagram influencers, online gaming communities, and YouTube communities. The key insight is that culture is no longer only physical. It is increasingly digital and hybrid, existing across both virtual and real-world spaces. Research process. Ethnographic research begins with entry into the field. The researcher then builds trust and rapport with participants. Participant observation follows, where the researcher engages in daily life. Field notes are recorded to capture observations and experiences. Interviews are conducted to gather deeper insights. Data is interpreted to uncover meanings and patterns. Finally, the ethnography is written as a detailed narrative account. Types of ethnography. Realist ethnography aims for a neutral and objective description. Critical ethnography focuses on power, inequality, and social justice. Feminist ethnography emphasizes gender and amplifies women's voices. Autoethnography involves reflecting on one's own life and experiences. Digital ethnography studies online and virtual communities. Advantages. Ethnography provides deep insight into social life. It offers real-life understanding grounded in lived experience. It produces rich qualitative data that captures complexity and meaning. Limitations. Ethnography is time-consuming and requires long-term commitment. It is subject to researcher bias and interpretation. Its findings are often limited in generalization due to small-scale focus. Ethical issues. Ethnography raises important ethical concerns. These include informed consent, privacy, potential deception, and emotional involvement. A central question remains: how close should a researcher go in studying the lives of others? Reflexivity. Ethnography is not neutral. The researcher's class, gender, caste, and personality all influence the research process. Knowledge is not simply discovered but co-created through interaction between researcher and participants. Conclusion. Ethnography changes how we see society. It shifts our focus from statistics to stories, from distance to immersion, and from facts to meanings. It teaches that to truly understand society, one must not observe it from the outside but live it from within. If you found this lecture helpful, do like, subscribe and share this video. Thank you.